Hi, welcome to Soul Work with Shannon. I'm Shannon, and today I am going to run you through a 10-minute sequence for lower back discomfort. And I was inspired to do this sequence from my friend Lindsay, who is 3 months postnatal with Olivia and doing a whole lot of nursing and sitting and holding an infant. And so the lower back definitely gets a little bit tired. So join me on this 10-minute sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on my mat and we'll get started. So what you'll want for today's class, if you have it, is a block. If you don't have a block, you can do this whole sequence on the floor. You might also even want a strap. I'm going to show it to you today with just a block. So we're going to start by laying down onto our back. I'm going to lift the hips up and take the lowest level of the block and tuck it right underneath my sacrum. It might take just a moment to find it where it's comfortable. I want to let my hips sort of lean back a little bit so it creates a slight traction in the lower back. But I also want to tuck my shoulder blades underneath and keep my chest lifted. So we'll start with bringing the left knee into the chest while the right knee stays bent. And then it's important to stay focused as you're doing these on your breath. So we'll just take 3 breaths. It should feel really comfortable to have the block underneath you. So feel free to kind of move your body slightly so that it feels like it gives your lower back some traction. And release the left knee and take the right knee into the chest and take 3 breaths. And then release, and then take the right or left knee back into the chest. Take a breath, and then extend the leg and interlace your hands behind the leg anywhere that it's comfortable. So it could be behind the thigh, or it even could be up behind the calf. Let the knee be soft and activate through your toes. And remember to keep your chest slightly lifted so you're not collapsing in your chest, and always breathing in to feel the sensations present. And hopefully you're feeling a little traction and releasing action going on through the lower back. Let go of the left leg and then repeat on the right. You can activate your toes to create more current through the back of the leg, more energy flow through the muscles. Let that leg go. Then repeat, come back over onto the left, extend the leg, and this time just walking your right leg out as far as it will go. So you might be tipping forward slightly in your pelvis, and reaching through both of the toes. If you haven't seen my video on the breath or the internal workings with the basic movements, you can see that stuff on my website at Soul Work with Shannon. And then release the left and repeat on the right. It's really important to back traction and getting somewhat of a back bend into the lower back and lengthening through the hamstrings. As we sit, the hamstrings shorten and the lower back then destabilizes, and so we need to build the strength and the balance of the lengthening through back of the legs. And then let that right leg go. We'll give ourselves a full body stretch here. So reaching the arms all the way overhead, pointing through the toes. And I'm slightly contracting through my glutes, so I'm staying very active. The next pose we'll do is a bridge pose. So I'm going to bring my arms down by my side and bend the knees so that my feet are right underneath my ankles. I'm going to take that second adjustment to tuck my shoulder blades underneath me. Take the breath into the chest. And then with the exhale, I'm going to lift my pelvis up off the block, and I'm reaching the tailbone forward towards the backs of the knees. So my glutes are really strong. I'm also working through my inner thighs, and I'm pressing the heels of my feet down into the ground, and I'm pulling my hips forward slightly towards my heels. This strengthens the back of the legs, the hamstrings, and the butt. So it's doing absolutely the reverse as when we're sitting. And hold for anywhere from like 3 to 7 breaths. And then as you exhale, let yourself come back down again on the block and just take a short rest, like a breath. And then I'm going to repeat the same bridge pose. Inhale, lift my hips up off of the block. And I'm reaching the tailbone again forward towards the back of my knees as I press down firmly through my feet. And you can use the active feet as well. Take another 3 breaths. And this also builds really good strength through the back of the legs, and just gradually doing more and more breaths to increase the strength. And then with the exhale, again, lowering back down on the block. We're going to repeat it for a 3rd time. And then exhale and lift the hips up. This time I'm going to take the block and move it out to the side. As I'm breathing in, I'm letting the breath come up into the chest. And then with my exhale, I'm going to begin lowering down from the top of my spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, and squeezing the glutes still very firmly. Until finally I come down. And then from here, take the knees and just hug those knees into the chest. This will stretch that lower back out, much like when we were doing the hamstring lengthening with the block underneath us. And then reach down, grab a hold of the outside edges of your feet for the dead bug pose. Another lower back lengthener. You can also modify to grab your ankles if you can't reach your feet. So I'm doing a very small movement while I'm in this pose is I'm reaching my tailbone down towards the floor, not tilting it up towards the ceiling, but actually feeling as though I'm creating a very small arch in the lower spine as I'm holding the knees to the side. But it's always best to listen to your body and to take those subtle nuances that feel really good to you. With the exhale, I'm going to release the feet, and then we're going to come down now over onto our stomach. We're going to do some variations on the boat pose. So I'm going to let my forehead rest down on the floor. I'm going to reach my arms back with the palms facing the floor like an airplane. The first thing I want to do is I want to firm up through my pelvis. So pressing my pubic bone down on the floor and squeezing the inner legs in towards each other. I want to feel a really strong connection in that glutes, so it feels like it lengthens out through the whole area, through the lower and the lumbar and the sacral area. And then with the inhale, I'm going to lift up with my chest and my arms and let the eyes gaze forward. Unless you're neck sensitive, let your head relax. You can let yourself feel your back muscles here, which will also help strengthen through your lower back. If you feel any tension or kind of tweakiness in through the lower back at all, lower down until you don't feel it anymore and squeeze through your inner thighs a little bit more strongly. And then with your exhale, lower down. Turn your head to one side and just take a relaxation moment. I'm keeping my glutes still just slightly contracted because that feels good to my lower back to keep it lengthened. And then we'll repeat. So again, I'm going to contract through my glutes, really getting that length through the lower back. Feel the pubic bone. And then turn the palms back over towards the floor. Inhale, lift. And then if you want to, you can add the legs in. Keep those inner legs squeezing towards each other and then lifting the legs. And I'm not lifting very high. Focusing on the breath. The inner thigh muscles, they're assist muscles. And they get a little bit lazy, so really make sure that you're squeezing those inner legs towards one another versus your knees. And then exhale, we'll lower down one more time. Take a rest. And then we'll go for the third and the final time. So again, I'm going to squeeze in through the legs. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lift the legs while I'm making sure to keep a strong lengthening through the tailbone, as if the tailbone is reaching all the way down towards the inner knees. Shoulder heads lifting away from the floor, hands opening up through the chest as well, which is also great when you're breastfeeding. Exhale. Lower back down. And then from here, we'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders and push ourselves back to the child's pose to lengthen out that spine in the back in a different way.